I recently did a video called Scared to Invest. This changed everything. And I told the story of how I finally got comfortable with investing. I also mentioned in that video that I keep a 12-month emergency fund. Now, I know that that is way above the usual 3 to 6 months that financial experts recommend. So today I'm going to give you 6 reasons why I keep a 12-month emergency fund. But first, welcome. My name is Celeste, and on this channel, I help mid-career professional Black women build a life of freedom. So if that sounds good to you, then please click subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so I have a lot of notes for this one, but hopefully you find this information helpful. So the first reason that I keep a 12-month emergency fund is that this job market is terrible, as y'all know. So I think that 3 months is just not enough cushion in case of a job loss. We're seeing people take like 6 months, 12 months to find a new job, right? I personally have had 2 recent stretches of being out of work that lasted. One was 6 months, and that one was a layoff. One was 7.5 months, and it was supposed to be a short sabbatical. But what had happened was by the time I was ready to go back to work, it just took a while to find a job. And so that's how it quickly turned into 7.5 months. So I know that this is it's like a particularly hard time for Black women in the job market right now. And if you are a Black woman watching this, that is all the more reason to, if you are still working, to shore up your emergency fund. But also, aside from what's going on right now, we historically have had a higher unemployment rate than women in other groups. So again, keeping all of this in mind, this is why I lean toward a larger fund versus a smaller fund. Okay, let me see. Before I go on to section 2, if what I'm saying is resonating with you so far, please click the like button so that other people can find this video. Thank you very much. All right, so the second reason that I keep a 12-month emergency fund is that economic cycles or recessions, I want to be able to outlast recessions. Let me say it that way. So I first heard this concept from Joshua Sheets on a podcast called Radical Personal Finance, and I'll link to all of this in the description. And he said, the vast majority of recessions can be weathered if you can get through a year or 2 or 3 based on just having cash. And he's right. Let's see, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research, the average recession since World War II has lasted about 10 months. So, like I said, I want to be able to outlast an economic downturn. And I don't want to be forced into any like panic decisions. And actually, just because everybody else is in a recession doesn't mean that I have to be in one. So I prefer to just have enough money that I can ride it out. So that's number 2. The third reason why I keep a 12-month emergency fund is that I believe in fun employment and sabbaticals. I don't want to just survive a break in employment. I want to be able to like live my life, right? So I want to do things like take advantage of the free time to do things that I wouldn't normally be able to do. I'm not a person who believes that just because I'm not working, I should be sitting at home on the couch stressed out. That's not me. So I budget for classes because that's fun to me, right? It's not everybody's cup of tea, but classes that I just normally don't have the time or the bandwidth to take, or extended travel since I don't have anywhere to be. My emergency fund covers my expenses during that time, but it also allows me to be joyfully jobless. So that's number 3. All right, moving right along. Number 4. So the fourth reason I keep a 12-month emergency fund is that having cash gives me peace of mind. So in that video, and I'll link it for you in the description, the video I mentioned earlier, Scared to Invest, I talked about how I have financial layers. So in the event of emergency, I would tap my cash first. And then if I ran through that, then I would tap my brokerage and then my Roth and so on and so on. But having cash means that I don't have to sell those investments. I can leave them where they are so that they can either keep growing or they have time to recover if it happens to be that the market is in a downturn. So now I know that having a large amount of cash means that I do forfeit some investment gains, right? Because that money is not in the market. But to me, that peace of mind of not having that money at risk is worth whatever investment gains that I am forfeiting. All right. So we're almost through these, guys. Number 5. The 5th reason that I keep such a large emergency fund is because of my personal circumstances and core values and risk factors, right? And so these are different for everybody, but I'm going to give you just a few of mine. I'm a single income household, so that means if I get laid off, there's nobody to pick up the slack. I am a contract worker, so that means I'll work for a stretch and then I may not work for several more months after that, right? So I have to be prepared for that possibility. Also, I am an older worker, and as we all know, older workers tend to be among the first to be laid off, and older workers have a harder time in the job market. So that's just another reason I want to be extra prepared, right? Back to that single income. So I am working on diversifying my income streams, but as of right now, my main source of income is coming from one source. So again, like if you have a different situation, you may be able to make some adjustments, but that's my situation, and I consider that a big risk factor. Let's see, what did I not cover? Here's an interesting one. I am an only child. I don't know if y'all knew that. So I have to think about any like potential caregiving responsibilities that I might have to take on in the future and how that might impact my ability to work. So I kind of have all of these things in mind when deciding upon that number. If you, sorry, lost my place for 1 second. Oh, okay, I got it. If you're interested in sort of thinking through this thought exercise on your own, I'll drop a link to the resource that I use to kind of ask myself some of these questions and assess how big of an emergency fund I needed. All right. The last reason that I keep a 12-month emergency fund is that it is crazy out here. The political and social chaos that is happening, it's wild. It's wild. So because of all the instability, I just want to keep more than what the experts say you should have on hand, right? So we know that systems are being broken on purpose They're going to be broken for a long time. So we kind of have to start relying on ourselves to be our own emergency plan, right? This is a revelation that I had like 2 weeks ago, as I was planning some move abroad stuff. I never imagined that I would have to look at my savings in terms of what visas and residencies they might qualify me for. Just of all the possibilities and all the things that I gamed out, that was not one. But here we are. Yeah, it's I did not account for having a flee the country fund, but I am now viewing my savings as possibly a flee the country fund. So, yeah, we are living in interesting times, to say the least. So, just to recap, the size of my emergency fund is, largely based on my risk factors, but it's also based on what's going on in the broader economy and what kind of life that I want to live, regardless of whether I'm working or not. So it really just gives me that cushion to land softly, to be courageous and make bold moves, and really the freedom to choose what I want to do next without having to panic. So I would love to hear from you on this topic. What do you think, or what size emergency fund do you aim for and why? And you don't have to tell all your business. You don't have to give a dollar amount, but you can just say it like in months or enough to pay for XYZ. So yeah, let's talk about it in the comments. So that's it for today. I'm going to drop the links to everything that I referenced in the description, and including the link to that Scared to Invest, This Changed Everything video. So if you haven't watched that yet, you should watch it right after this. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.